My twin brother and I were supposed to go on a trip with our father's family. He was a nice guy, but we rarely visited him. When he did make plans, he usually only invited my brother, so I was stoked to be going too this time. Our uncle volunteered to drop us off. During the car ride, he told us an old story that he heard about. Apparently the lake house we were supposed to go to actually used to be a cemetery that got flooded during a bad storm. My brother and I looked at each other. We were both fans of the paranormal, so this was more exciting than scary for us. Once we got there, we thanked our uncle and approached the lake house. It looked pretty fancy, but through the walls we could hear the muffled sounds of the rest of our family inside. I knocked on the door, and our aunt opened it. She welcomed us inside, then took us to our room as we settled our things. Most of our family were in and out the kitchen, trying to prepare the barbecue for later tonight. Our dad told us we were free to use the boat for now, since our uncles only used it to go night fishing. He taught us how to use it when we were younger, so no one really said anything once we left on it. The only warning he gave us was to not get into the water, since there was bacteria in there. My brother and I looked at each other, wondering if our uncle's story about the underwater cemetery was actually real. We drove pretty far out. It felt good to feel the breeze in my face, until my brother suddenly anchored the boat. I looked over at him to see what he was doing, and it looked like he was getting ready to jump in. Neither of us had on life jackets, so I rushed over, and by the time I was right behind him, he fell in. Looking over the railing, I watched him sink down. I stood there, waiting for him to come back up and scare me, but he never did. I stood there for a good 10 minutes, until I finally steered back towards the lake house for help. I must have been speeding, because my dad stood outside with his arms crossed. In my mind, I began thinking about how I was going to explain what happened to my brother. But before I could open my mouth, he began to speak. "You guys couldn't listen to the one rule I gave you." Sweat dripped down my face. "Why would you let your brother swim in the water?" he asked me, and I bit my lip. How did he know what happened? We were too far out for anyone to see us. Before my dad could continue, a familiar face stepped out into the porch. "Ha! I can't believe I beat you swimming back. You suck at driving the boat." My brother chuckled. I watched him closely. How was he here? Even at dinner, he spoke the same jokes he usually did and got along with everyone. I tried to catch him slipping up, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. He even knew all our family's inside jokes. He sounded like my brother, talked like him, and even stood like him, but that